Hello, I'm Ricardo Uvinha from São Paulo, Brazil. My professional background is physical education. I should highlight that leisure in Brazil is mostly related to physical education in a professional and academic way. However, I have also background in tourism, developing my doctoral and my postdoctoral thesis in this field. Leisure for me is the most important part of my day. I try to avoid thinking a clear separation about leisure and work time. I'm lucky to have in my work a great environment to develop very good relations with my colleagues and students. Regarding leisure time, I try to combine electronic games, playing mostly PS4, and practicing physical activity like running in outdoor areas, especially in urban parks. I'm originally from São Paulo city, but I spent my childhood at the beach in a city called Santos. Having a beautiful ocean just few blocks from my home was amazing in terms of leisure because I could play soccer with my friends, also practicing surfing and other adventure sports in nature. This is a time for my life that I particularly remember very much. Leisure has changed a lot in my view. The most important change was the use of technology. Social media is quite famous in Brazil nowadays, especially the use of Facebook and WhatsApp. Therefore, this virtual behavior should not be ignored. Also, it is important to perceive how aspects such as schooling, income, and social class has exerted a decisive influence in the way that Brazilians use their leisure time. Recently, we had published an article at the World Leisure Journal as a part of an extensive research project entitled The Brazilian's Leisure. Using leisure time in Brazil was a model for us to study. The main research questions were: what do Brazilians actually do with their leisure time? What would they like to do with their leisure time but they are unable to do so? And what are the obstacles preventing them to do what they want to do? The results were really amazing for us and help us to understand the main changes in leisure for Brazilian people. The Brazilian Constitution of 1988 declared leisure as a social right, a situation also assured in all state laws and municipal organs of Brazil. However, despite being a right, the number of Brazilians without access to a good experience in leisure environment is still significant. The main factors that exclude the lower classes from engaging in certain leisure practices are the lack of money, limited space, little state investment, and the mass culture industry advancement. In a country where most of the leisure attractions belong to private enterprises, families that have smaller budgets prioritize health, prioritize food and education, among other social spheres, leaving leisure in the background. There is then a current paradox. When on one hand, leisure is given as a right and thus should be equally available to the entire population, but on the other hand, the variety of factors that limit leisure practices, such as difference in income, which added to the high values charged for many for the equipments and activities, increase the access barriers of such practice. We say lazer in our language. I should remind you that we are in South America, and only in Brazil we speak Portuguese. The other countries in this region speak Spanish, and they usually say ocio or recreación for leisure. One example of a significant change can be seen in demographic issues, such as the increase in elderly population in the country. Data from the Brazilian government suggests an increase of elderly population as a result of the demographic transition process. The trend points out that in 2030, This proportion will be 18.6%, and in 2060, 33.7% of the Brazilian population. We should pay attention to this challenge in leisure field, in my opinion, regarding the elderly people. Considering the close connection with other aspects of human life, we can understand that leisure as a culture lived in a broadest sense, practiced or enjoyed in the free time. However, we should recognize the main barriers, physical, socioeconomic, and symbolic, that still exist and prevent access of all people to leisure, as well as the need for overcoming and confronting each of them. Regardless of the background of these professionals, physical education teachers, tourism, social science, information technology, they should pay attention in this value. The Quebec Declaration, Leisure Essential to Community Development, states in its Article 1 that the quality of life of groups and communities rests on common values of association, accessibility, diversity, safety, information, and freedom of speech. In this sense, leisure may have fundamental importance in people's lives, since effective participation depends on the knowledge of the different options that leisure can offer. Pode mudar. The World Leisure Congress in São Paulo, Brazil, gathered over 1,000 participants from 37 nations. It was organized from August to September in 2018. And this event was organized by the World Leisure Organization and Social Service of Commerce, with the academic support from the University of São Paulo and several professional and teaching institutions. The theme of the Congress was Leisure Beyond Constraints, and participants discussed the main barriers regarding leisure that still exist and prevent access of all people to leisure, as well as the need for overcoming and confronting each of them. Over 700 high-quality abstracts and posters were presented, and hundreds of people followed the live-streamed keynote presentation. I have acted as the chair of the scientific committee of the World Leisure Congress in São Paulo. I was responsible for a wide range of operations, bringing students for volunteering, also helping to foster a close relation between University of São Paulo and SESC, and also World Leisure Organization, attracting students and scholars from South America, among other several activities. I think an important legacy from this event was the new São Paulo Declaration. This document enforced leisure as a human right, in consonance with the 7th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and it was published in 3 languages, English, Portuguese, and Spanish. Another important legacy, in my view, was the establishment of the new World Leisure Center of Excellence at the University of São Paulo, inserting our university in a powerful networking of well-renowned institutions. And finally, the Douglas Ribeiro da Silva International Field School, where 25 international students from 9 countries traveled to Perus, an underprivileged community in São Paulo. I didn't receive any personal gain from this Congress. My gain was academic and professional, and it was a pleasure to receive so many locals and international guests in my city, São Paulo. A major gain, in my view, was the leadership of the project to create a new World Leisure Center of Excellence in Brazil, supported by the University of São Paulo, and the launch of a new book organized by myself, thematic to the research in Brazil, and edited by SESC Publisher. I have served the board of directors for 10 consecutive years, from 2007 to 2016, being the vice chairman for 3 years. I have learned a lot from this experience, learned from my colleagues at the boards, and also attending all the leisure conferences, traveling a lot on behalf of the leisure organization. In 1998, the World Leisure Conference was organized for the first time in South America, in my city, São Paulo, and I was a doctoral student that time. In 2004, I was a postdoctoral research at Griffith University in Brisbane, and I helped them to organize the World Leisure Conference in Australia. In 2018, I was the chairman of the scientific committee of the World Leisure Conference in São Paulo. So I can say I'm really proud of this close relation with the World Leisure Organization. I defend that the World Leisure Organization should keep the promotion for more inclusion, regardless of the region, of the world, or different language. By the way, I'm looking forward to attend the next two events in China 2020 and New Zealand 2022. I strongly encourage my academic and professional colleagues in leisure from South America to apply for a position at the board of directors, considering the unique experience, and also spread information in South America for both experts and young leaders in leisure field about how valuable it is to take part into the mission of our leisure organization, becoming member and attending the conference and projects related to this important organization.